everybody. Welcome. Glad you're here today. Thanks for spending your time with us here today. This is the VirtualLight broadcast. This is the first one for January. So we'll be working with this in January, already into the new year. I know it just flies by, right? Anyway, we'll be doing one more of these on January 25th. We'll be doing the final VirtualLight broadcast. We won't be presenting our normal presentations. We'll be doing short little snippets from presenters who've presented on the VirtualLight broadcast previously. You know, we've done this for a long time. We used to, here in Las Vegas, we used to do it live. We'd rent out a hotel that would have lots of meeting space for us, and we'd bring in food, and we'd have a whole bunch of people, and we'd bring in all of our equipment and broadcast it live every month. And we did that for almost 15 years. So we've done this for quite some time. I'm very honored to be here with you, probably to take this to the next step. We will be doing a monthly event, by the way, a monthly free event that will sort of replace this, but in a different way. We're going to make it more direct. We're going to focus it a little bit different. There'll also be other parts of it that will blend in with the podcast that we're doing as well every 2 weeks. So anyway, there'll be things of that nature. That is going to be called Spiritcast, and that will also bring a monthly message from the group. So welcome to Spiritcast. We'll start with that coming up. I'll make an announcement about when and where and what that's going to look like a little time later. Right now, we're just moving into this website, and if you haven't seen it, I'm just really proud of the whole thing. I've had a lot to do with it myself, but I wanted to just show it to you really quick. If you haven't been here before, you can register right here with this beautiful little register button. It only takes a second. If you have, just log in. Just click the login button. It'll help you pretty quick. And once you do, you're going to see this actually takes you up here to your avatar. So that tells you you're logged in. Many times when you first come to the site, you're automatically logged in anyway, and you don't know it. So we wanted to tell you about that. Also here, you can also just click on this, and this will automatically take you to where we just were a second ago. This is your backstage page. This is basically tells you where all your events are, all the different things that you can do, different downloads that you're going to have. Every month you're going to get a new free download. This is the one for this month. And the Lightmaster, if you want to join up, different things there. And all the free events will be in this one spot over here. So you'll have these automatically. And of course, Lightmaster you have to purchase if you're there. But there's a lot to this. Also on the very front page, if you just scroll down for just a second, you'll see a new video of me telling you how things work on the site. And you'll see a special video for Lightmasters or for people considering to be Lightmasters of what that's going to be like and how things will differ a little bit on this website. And then further down, you'll see other videos of explaining how we work, et cetera, and the promos of the products that we're going to be working with. We have quite a lot that we're offering here on the new site entirely. So there's a tremendous amount here that we put together. We hope you enjoy it. And the Lightmaster program itself has just started. Lightmaster 2025 has just begun. It's going to focus, the whole year is going to focus on higher vibrational tools. They keep talking about living in the fifth dimension and the fact that it's already here, but we don't know how to anchor it because we keep using old third dimensional tools and third dimensional ways of working with it. So what they're doing now is on 2025, especially, we're going to be focusing on fifth dimensional tools, basically anchoring higher vibrational things, looking at things a different way. We're also going to be working a lot with the threes. The group has always talked about the threes being the base of the universe. Excuse me. We're going to be working a lot with that. And there are also some new modalities which are coming up. Probably going to be grounding in Lightmaster. Most everything comes through in Lightmaster in the beginning. So anyway, there's just some really fascinating things coming up. I'm looking forward to a lot. So come join us if you've been thinking about it. You can quit at any time. There's different ways you can get in, different amounts you can pledge to be able to put it into your budget to where it fits for you. Come play. Come see what that's about if you've been thinking about it. Okay, and that's Lightmaster. And you'll find a big link right here on the front page. It'll take you to the whole thing that show you what it's all about, where you can sign up, what the whole process is. Okay, well, that was a nice commercial. Well, I need to tell you about the fun things that we're doing, because we're doing so many different things on the new website now. There's a lot to be working with there, but the best value that we have for the money and the highest level work that we do is in Lightmaster. So there's even Lightmaster Intro to Lightmaster 1 and 2 if you want to catch up with things, because we do use a lot of words that the group has coined, words that they basically made up to describe something. And we've made special videos about what these are, so that you'll understand what the group talks about when they talk about the 11 dimensions that we exist in, when they talk about many of the aspects of the torus, different things of that nature. So anyway, those are all there too. So we've got lots of ways. Come play. All right, we will be doing that. I'm going to bring Meg in, then we're going to go into the channel for the day from the group. I can tell you that they want to talk about family. I know that has different connotations for different people, but they want to give you their view of family and how that is reflected in our world here and how we can use that. Okay? All right, everybody, thanks for being with us. This is Meg Adamson. I'm thrilled to be bringing her on here, Aspavo.
Hi, everybody. So nice to be here with you in this last month of 2024. So I have a special segment for you this month. I want to talk about the concept of mirroring. And right before the holidays and crossing over into a new year, I really wanted to chat about the concept of mirroring. And I'll explain that in a minute. We'll dive in. Plus, I wanted to give you some really powerful suggestions to keep handy, just in case your family gatherings are a bit stressful, or your work and your to-do list are extra long this month. So let's jump in. What is mirroring? There's actually two branches of mirroring. First is the literal. When you mirror someone's body language, their gestures, their attitude, and their speech, this kind of literal mirroring is often used to create connection, to create rapport. It creates sameness to your brain. And we are always picking up what are called micro impressions from each other. Those are just sort of silent, energetic. There's always that innate intelligence within you, your subconscious mind. It's always listening, and you've got a part of your brain we call the critical factor that's always associating data. So as we take you in, whoever's in front of us, people around us, as we take that data in, it's actually being weighed against all of our memories, so that we know how to respond. The subconscious mind is going to know friend or tiger. And so as we mirror another, it starts to create a connection. It starts to slowly build rapport. And so when you get together with groups or with family or with friends or with work colleagues at office parties, if you tend to be more quiet, more of an introvert, or feel a little self-conscious or a little uncomfortable in busy get-togethers and settings, you can use this technique of mirroring to ease yourself into creating connection with other people. So, for example, if someone stands with their hands clasped in their lap, you can, or rather say they sit with their hands clasped in their lap, or they stand and their hands are just crossed over each other in front of their abdomen, you can do the same. You can sit with your hands clasped in your lap, or you can stand with your hands in front of your abdomen. When someone speaks with a softer tone, you can speak with a softer tone and mirror that. When someone's body language is clear that they like personal space, some people like to speak really close, especially in loud settings. Other people will tell you where their comfort zone is because they'll move back. They'll take a step back and they'll prefer to watch you and listen versus have you so close they can't see you. you can mirror that. It creates an environment that says we're alike. There's comfort here. And the interesting thing and kind of beautiful thing is that it doesn't take a long time to actually create a connection between people. So if you try it, what you'll start to see is the other person's body language starts to soften. Maybe they smile a little. Maybe they make direct eye contact and hold it a little longer. They let you know that this is comfortable for them. So that's what you're doing. In essence, you're creating that comfortable environment for them and therefore for yourself. But I want to talk about the other branch of mirroring because this is the one that starts to get complicated and misconstrued. And the other branch of mirroring is more innate. It's internal. And this has been kind of mixed up in spirituality, in my opinion. This form of mirroring, it's actually a belief. And maybe you've heard this before. Belief that others' behavior is about us, not them. And I really want to challenge that. Mirroring is the concept that what others do, that you have a reaction to, actually lives inside of you. Therefore, what bothers you, you should be checking within yourself. So, for example, and this is very nuanced, so stay with me. So, for example, someone constantly makes you wrong whenever you bring up your feelings around something. Let's just use that as an example. In mirroring, in the old belief, it would say, well, there must be a part of you that feels responsible or guilty for them to behave this way around you. In other words, they're mirroring on the outside what is occurring for you on the inside. And I disagree with that wholeheartedly. To me, that doesn't feel accurate, and it can also be kind of damaging and tone deaf by making you responsible for other people's behaviors. Now, in society, we have been so conditioned to look outside of ourselves for our worth, for our value. Do something, get something. Be a good girl. Behave properly. Receive love. Receive credit. Receive accomplishment. So, or with boys, man up. Don't cry. Behave a certain way, model a certain behavior, expect something in return. You will get respected. So we learn things in a way that actually doesn't make the other person respect you or love you or fill in the blank 24/7. Now you might learn that if I behave a certain way, I get something back, and it's all unconscious. It sounds manipulative, but it's all unconscious. However, what if that someone is having a bad day of their own and you do something and they don't really see it, they don't really hear it, they can't give you what you need? Well, now we're in a mess. So we are so conditioned to outsource our love and our value. However, mirroring says if someone behaves in a certain way, then you must have that within you, and that's why it's bothering you. That has over time been turned into, how am I responsible for that? But you aren't, right? In that scenario, when someone refuses to validate your feelings, if you want to speak about your feelings and they get defensive and they turn that around and they get angry so that they are right and you are wrong. So when someone refuses to validate your feelings in order for them to be right, needing to make you wrong, that's not about what you look at internally for you. That's speaking volumes about their lack of self-work. No judgment, unconscious, keep that in mind. But they haven't learned how to be able to listen without feeling attacked and to not take it personally, but rather hear it as an opening for dialogue. That requires emotional maturity. That requires emotional regulation versus self-defense. Where spirituality really complicates things is in merging the two concepts together, the concept of energy matching and mirroring, and they are not the same concept. There's a big difference between the two. Energy matching is when we're in a circumstance and we ponder why, hear the word, Ponder, not judge, ponder. Why? This might be present for us. Why is this happening this way for me? So my partner reacts this way anytime I want to talk about how I feel. He or she gets defensive. And rather than listen and respond from a heart-centered space, they respond with defensiveness. How is this an energy match for me right now? Notice, match does not equate to responsibility. You are never responsible for another person's behavior, ever. But you can investigate what you've been telling yourself about your relationship, what your beliefs are, if you feel more positive about it, or if you've built up more negative beliefs that would help create that dynamic. That does not mean you are responsible for their behavior. Mirroring doesn't open to contemplation, and that's the issue that I have with it. Mirroring says you are responsible for every hurtful action or rude thing someone else does. It makes you question your worth and compound very unnecessary self-doubt. When someone behaves poorly around you, it's indicative of their own past wounding, their own pain. You can hear it and see it. Their own insecurity. And that was never your burden to carry. But if you're both trying to heal self-esteem programming from the past, it makes it the perfect experience for you to see your reaction to them, and that is all yours. How you respond is all about you. How they behave is all about them. So you can literally witness your life from the lens of personal power, which is, I get to feel how I want to feel about myself, no matter where I am, no matter who I'm with, no matter how they're feeling, no matter how they're behaving, no matter how people in the grocery store are behaving, no matter how my partner is behaving that day. I get to feel about myself how I choose to, how I want to. And that takes work. Because when we are aligned, right, we have to learn. I get to learn emotional maturity and resilience. Then in that alignment, I can have compassion for someone who isn't behaving well, while not making it at all about my worth or my value. Nothing that happens in life is ever about your personal value. I can't say that enough times. But we have been conditioned to believe that since we were small. And we didn't have the resources to deal with things. And so it felt very personal. Or parents, guardians, teachers, authority figures, they made it personal because they hadn't done their work. So you had a critical parent that said, why can't you, ... Can't you see you are ... So we grow up still responding in a very childlike way. Again, all unconscious. That child who believes something is wrong with them is now actively being defensive when you want to talk about your feelings. But their wounds aren't yours to heal. But if their wounding triggers yours, you can absolutely do something about healing yours. That's understanding the energetic match going on. And that is very different from accepting responsibility of all the circumstances that mirroring indicates. When you do that, understanding the energetic match going on, healing your own wounds, you start to model something very, very different. You start to model what I call not picking it up. Someone can respond in a negative way and you simply don't pick it up. You can have compassion for other people, but not fix them, not take responsibility for them, not save them. And on the opposite scale, not shut down, not feel gaslit. You can learn to maintain your own alignment, taking responsibility for yourself. And that's when something really magical starts to happen, when you do that. Two things start to happen. First, you feel a whole lot better no matter who you're around, because you get to manage you. And you get to learn tools to manage you if you notice that you're being triggered. So that has nothing to do with anyone else, and therefore you can never be powerless, ever. Because you can't control the outside world. You can't control what everybody says and does around you. but you certainly can manage you. And second, what you'll start to notice if you practice, that over time, people start to calibrate to you. You start to become the dominant frequency in the room, and it feels really good. And so what happens? Their behavior starts to change. Not because you tried to make them change their behavior, but because you managed your own alignment. That's also energetic matching. It's just you managing you, and that feels so liberating and so freeing and so good that it starts to influence others to model it, not for you, for them, for themselves. They want that feeling. They want that strength. They want what looks like, how are you managing? Even though everything outside of you is crazy, how are you managing? You start to do your own work and model that, and they calibrate to it. This is the truth. This is actually the real truth, in my opinion, behind personal development, all personal development. It's you managing you so well that everything around you calibrates to that same frequency of joy and of happiness and of peace. I think that's the most important work we can be doing ever in our lifetime. But this month, specifically, going into the holidays and all the things that the holidays mean. For some people, it's a really busy, stressful time. For other people, it's a lonely, sad time. For other people, they're really trying their best. Some people don't celebrate at all. Some people do celebrate, but they feel overwhelmed with how much they have to do on top of what was already a very busy life. If you have a job, if you have kids, if you have to go to this party and this dance recital and this Christmas pageant and all of these things. So we need tools. We need to be able to manage ourselves. We need to learn to not pick it up when something around us is happening and not take responsibility for it. We need to learn how to respond in a way that we can be compassionate, not take responsibility for others, but take full responsibility for ourselves and stay out of the dynamic of blame and defensiveness and wanting someone else to change. And one of the best ways to maintain that, in my opinion, is you've got to learn how to deal with your subconscious mind. If you think of your subconscious mind as this, it is this infinite intelligence, it is this infinite power, but it has zero direction. Its only job is to take what's impressed upon it and carry it out. You're perfectly built, but you don't know it, right? You have your conscious thinking mind, and that's as far as we really got. So everything must be because I see it, so show me the evidence of it, and then I'll believe it. It doesn't work like that. It's the reverse of that. My conscious thinking mind is only going to tell me what I believe to be true, which actually, most of the time, is questionable. But if I don't have a relationship with my subconscious mind, if I'm not instructing it every single day, then I feel like I'm being blown around in the wind by anything that's coming at me that shows up as evidence in the world. Small microcosm, large macrocosm. In my life, with my partner, in my small sphere, or in the world. But when you align that subconscious and conscious, and then you leave room for superconscious mind, then you've got resources, and you've got power, and you've got responsibility, and you've got freedom, and you've got understanding, and you've got tools, and you've got personal power. And that becomes an extraordinary way to live your life. That's when people start to say, you always seem happy. How do things keep working out for you? Why do you seem to just have the right intuition at the right time? Why doesn't that bother you when this happens or this happens? How do you manage yourself? Why do you seem so healthy? It's your work. And there's a path to doing that work. There's an understanding, and it's in that alignment of those three, conscious, subconscious, and superconscious mind. So I want to leave you with a few things that I wrote specifically for this month. Read them. Read them to yourself. If you can, take 3 deep breaths. Close your eyes. Let your body shift out of stress and into resources, into parasympathetic drive. And then open your eyes and read them. slowly, with conviction. Mean them. Feel that in your gut when you say them. Do it last thing at night, because science has shown the last thing that you read or think about before you go to sleep, you wake up and step into the next day. So be intentional about it. Start to create a relationship with you, because with that, there isn't anywhere that you can't go. And so what I want to share with you is, there are 5 that I've written. And the first is, the innate intelligence within me knows the perfect path for me and orchestrates all the pieces in the most effortless, peaceful, and joyful way. What does that feel like to live like that? The next, I am always under direct inspiration. I make right decisions quickly and easily for myself. The third, I can enjoy being around others while maintaining my own peaceful and powerful alignment. The fourth, every day, my infinite intelligence opens the way for the divine plan of my life to manifest. This perfect plan includes health, wealth, love, and perfect self-expression. And the last, I now am an irresistible magnet for all that is truly mine from infinite intelligence. If you start to read those 10 minutes before you go to sleep, 10 minutes when you wake up the next morning, you're going to start to change your life. Use them. Start to program your subconscious mind. Remember that you have infinite power within you, but it's waiting for direction. You have to learn how to direct it. And with that, I wish you the most blessed holidays if you celebrate, no matter if your home is full or if you will be enjoying some quiet time, self-care time. I wish you every happiness and all of the universe's blessings. Thank you for this magical time that we spend together. And if you're seeing this video but you're not on my mailing list, I encourage you to sign up to stay in touch with me. You can find that at megadamsonhypnotherapy.com. So www.megadamson, hypnotherapy.com. When you do that, you will also receive a free download for stress, absolutely free from the moment you sign up. And if you love having these kinds of conversations, this kind of content, I'm going to be diving so deeply into all of this, plus the tools, plus the resources, plus the practice, the understanding and the alignment, which creates those breakthroughs, creates that whole new identity. Starting January 4th in a new program I'm offering called Identity and Manifestation Work. If you have any questions, just reach out to me. And if I can ever help you, if you've got things that you want to heal from your past, just reach out. Send me an email through my website. I'm here. Happy, happy holidays. Blessings. Bye for now.
Thank you, Meg. Awesome. It always amazed me how all this seems to flow together. I'm sure somebody's in control, because I'm sure not. I'm going to be bringing in the group here for the final message for the day. Thanks for being with us here. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful month. Join us again for the final VirtualLight broadcast on January 25th, and we will take it from there. Asbab, everybody. Greetings, dear ones. I am Observer. I join you this day with a great observation of humanity, for things are moving in a very powerful direction. Now, we tell you there are ups and downs, there are all the challenges ahead, obviously, the things that you have worked so hard for. And we tell you some of these are being greatly resisted. The rise of the feminine itself has moved as we said it has. It has brought new energies to this planet, new ideas. But it's also brought fear for those that have felt that the masculine must be a superior energy in some way, for those that felt that there must be a competition between the masculine and the feminine, and felt very threatened by the feminine energy coming in and actually moving a lot of energy in the way that it did. Well, that is cause for concern, because what happened here is the masculine energy has grabbed hold very hard and strong, only for a short time. Please understand, nothing lasts forever. There's a turn going on that will simply turn again. Watch for the pendulum to swing in the opposite direction. Humans are wonderful animals full of love, and that's the piece to keep in mind. You have all these incredible energies and these memories from home, dear ones. So let us speak this day, since we are in this What Is series. The what is that we wish to speak of today is what is family. For you have many different visions of it. When the keeper was first starting this work, he kept talking about family. He kept talking about the lightworker family. He kept talking about the spiritual family of other people around him. And some people had negative reactions for that and simply said, well, you know, you've obviously had a different experience with family than they did. People that have brought up with very negative experiences and lack of support around family. That is only one very small level of family of which we wish to speak this day. For the reality is, all of your attempts at relationships in all areas are simply reflections of trying to remember the things that you automatically have at home. Now, humans are fascinating beings. All of you are working with new energies. We've just brought a new aspect of ourselves in. You will hear from her another time. But the reality is that there are many things that are just moving at the speed of light right now. And as this happens, we'd like to take you home for just a moment. Now, you've been playing the game of pretending to be a human. Your spirit has been divided up into 11 different aspects, all carrying parts of yourself, all carrying parts of your personality, all carrying parts of your core personality, which is the true you. So they're all you in different aspects. Now, they've learned different things. They've been moved in different ways. Their bodysuit has been taught different things, so they have different aspects of where they are, sometimes even opposites from where you might be. But that allows the spirit to change in a lot of different ways. So here's what happens. Let's just say, for instance, that you go home for a moment. And you're walking down this street, and you know you're home. You know you're not in your physical body. You know you've died, and you know you're walking down this street. And all of a sudden, you see someone coming from the opposite direction. First thing first, you check yourself to see who you are that you are presenting. You do have a bodysuit if you think you have a bodysuit. So you check your bodysuit. Oh, I'm okay, I'm good. And you go forward. And as you start to perceive this person, there's this whole welling of your heart that starts to manifest for you. And you can't explain it. Your brain is searching like crazy to figure out where you might have known this person or what this was about. But your heart just is exploding with this energy that you're feeling for this person. You just want to grab them and hug them and be a part of them in any way that they will allow. And yet you're just walking past them on the street. You don't know what this is. In that moment, they turn and look at you. And in that moment, you are flooded with memories of sometimes past lifetimes, but more of experiences that you have experienced on the other side of the veil. For when you integrate in that way, you basically share memories, you share experiences, That's what happens to you when you go home. All 11 of you that experience life in slightly different ways come together and blend it all together in this perfection. Magical thing. That is family. Now, what is family on the other side? Well, dear ones, you are not new to this earth. Many of you have been here thousands of times, or similar experiences, as we've mentioned. Some of you go back to some of the original Earths. You're in the fourth Earth right now. Some of you go back even further than that. So the reality is you've experienced this game of pretending to be separate before. And most of the time, you experience things with relationships here with a limited vision. You have massive amnesia. You are not able to remember who you are and where you came from and what you experienced in the last times out. So as such, you tend to find yourself redoing things or doing the same things that you did before, learning the lessons quicker usually, but nonetheless, you seem to have to start over in different ways. That can be very frustrating for new spirits pretending to be human. But the reality is you start working with this really well. Now, from the other side of the veil, you have core essence. It's very difficult to describe exactly what that is because you're all blended a part of each other. It's not like we can pull one thing out and say, this is you, and this is Fred, and this is Mirtha, and all these different strange energies. You do. That's how you play the game of pretending to be separate from each other. You have physical bodies that can represent that. But we do not, because you're all part of each other. You influence each other all the time. So, interestingly enough, that is your core family. And yet, there are certain aspects that are almost closer to you than other ones. Now, this is difficult because this indicates a space situation at home, which doesn't really exist. But we're giving you illustrations that you might be able to understand. So what happens is that you have a connection with someone that you're trying to connect with, but they're way out here. Well, that simply means that you have to work through that connection, but you make the connection. They're part of you. You just have to remember them, almost as if you have to remember their phone number or something. So that's really part of it. And yet there's these beings that are right here experiencing what you are experiencing. Those we call original spiritual family. Now, there are times on planet Earth when you actually intersect your reality with theirs. So you may be seeing some of your original spiritual family come back into your life. Most of the time they will come in for short times because sometimes they can upset a lot of things, which they tend to do. But the reality is many times they'll come back into your life, they'll intersect your life, they will bump you if you're not in a good situation, they'll let you see yourself from a perspective of love and they'll move on. And most of the time, and it's not that that happens all the time, sometimes they will stay, sometimes they'll be part of your life for the rest of your life. But for the most part, you're going to have people that will intercede your life that know you well. These were the people, the original spiritual family, which many times will, as we say, will cross your path at specific times. Usually on a path to their own place, to their own dreams, to their own work. So this is one of the things that we see happening a lot. On top of that, there are so many of these very intimate parts of you that exist around you all the time, almost like a magnetic attraction, because you're all slightly vibrating differently, which is what kind of makes up the whole of what is. Everything vibrates at a slightly different frequency. Yes, you have ranges of frequency that you often inhabit. You break some of those down into colors that you call. But the reality is there's so many more. But those vibrational ranges are basically what you exist in. So the other thing that happens many times is sometimes you'll be passing someone or meeting someone for the first time, and you'll feel this deep, deep, deep connection. Well, it can be very confusing. Sometimes it was a contract that was passed, because many contracts are skipped for lack of motion. It's frustrating for us to watch. On this side of the veil, we see many wonderful contracts being set up, and at the same time, when they activate, people tend to walk away. So, yes. So these are the connections to family. Now, when you come down here and you pretend to be human, you also choose a family. Not really, you choose a primary parental contract, not really a family, because you're entering into the planet of free choice. It is possible that you may not end up with both parents that you chose, so you choose one primary parental contract, one that you know you can connect with, and you trust her to find the perfect partner for you. Many times people get very lucky, very lucky. Other times, not so much. Other times, there are times when about 20% of the planet now, actually 23% of the planet, are in backup plans. These are when you have set on your side of the veil, we're talking about family on your side of the veil now. Before you came in, you set up a contract to have this person be your father. And he was going to teach you, you were going to look up to him, and you were going to just emulate him in every way possible. It was going to be very intense, okay? And all of a sudden, he's not there. They decided not to have any more children. There was an accident, he died. Whatever took place, that avenue closed down before you came in. So what happens is many times you will choose an alternate path. Now, many times that alternate path has other things to it that you're not really familiar with. So sometimes when you put yourself into a backup plan, most of the time that means you're the black sheep in the family. You may have brothers and sisters that all seem to get along pretty well, but you're the oddball one. You think a little bit differently than everybody else. It's also entirely possible that mother or father, usually mother in this situation, can actually be afraid and concerned because she now has this baby and she can't connect with the baby. She basically doesn't have the natural vibrational connection that she would normally have with the baby. Very common, and that is made on your side of the veil. But in the very beginning, it sometimes leads to a little mistrust that sets into a relationship. Sometimes it can go on for a person's lifetime. So on your side of the veil, family means all these things. Sometimes these are opportunities to learn. Sometimes they're great support. Sometimes family is all about love. Wonderful. Sometimes you signed up for a little of both. Sometimes you said, you know, I'm going to be in this family with you, and we're going to be learning from these incredible parents. We're very lucky to get this spot. Will you also bug me and steal some money from me or do something from me? So yeah. We set up all kinds of contracts and different things inside of these perfect arrangements, obviously. So enjoy the journey above all. But contracts on your side of the veil, relationships are built, always. Now, when you start with a vibrational relationship, it usually means that you have a deeper connection. That was the person that you chose from the other side of the veil that was no longer available. So many of you, 23% of you, have actually taken an alternate Plan B contract on your birth. And in here, why would you do that? Well, there's a very good reason. You wanted to be here now. It was critical for you to be here now. There's a very important aspects of this. As we mentioned, the new reality is stepping up. You're moving very quickly now into a higher vibrational state. Please do not judge that by the news or by things that are happening in politics or things that are happening in all these crazy third dimensional world. But look at it from the higher aspect of how you can connect and what is in your reality around you right now, because you create that. And in the fifth dimension, you create much more of it. You basically can extend this in ways that you didn't dream possible. There's many aspects of being able to work with this in a higher vibrational state to build a comfortable life, full of excitement, full of expansion, full of creativity. This is truly where you're stepping in this. Now, where does family fit into all of this? Well, number one, your original spiritual family will always be your original spiritual family. They will always love you, no matter what you do. Is that true with family that's down here? Not always, not always. Well, you've got other things here. You've got finality. You've got other things that you're dealing with here. So you've got the duality that you've been growing up with. You're not anchored in triality yet, which is where we're going. As we step into a higher vibrational state, everything is anchored in threes. We'll show you much of this going forward into the work that we're going to be bringing in about a lot of this aspect. So with this, you step forward, you step into a new reality in a different way. And your original spiritual family is called in at the most incredible times. Sometimes they don't intercede in your world in a normal way. There are times when an original spiritual family member inhabits a body for a few moments to walk in front of you in a busy street, to catch your eye for a second, to smile, and to move on. In that embrace, they basically caught your attention, they planted a seed of home and remembrance, and may have actually even changed your life. That happens a lot on planet Earth right now. You may be one of these people that will be doing this with others. So also, as you walk through the streets and you find yourself coming eye to eye with someone, smile. Plant that seed intentionally. Let that go whenever possible. You'll find so many things starting to awaken with new attributes. It is time, dear ones. So the families themselves. Well, many times you build families around things as well. For instance, you may have a family that you have around your spirituality. You may have a family that you have around your work. If you really like your work and you really like the people you work with, they're a family. You see them every day. You probably spend more time with them than you do with your family at home. So you become a family of sorts. And yes, you're going to have a crazy uncle. And yes, you're going to have all those things. That's family. And you allow this to open up and play this game because these are built. Right now, more than ever before, reaching out and connecting in any ways possible can be huge. There are so many attributes, dear ones, that are intending to separate people on planet Earth. It is an intentional move for power takeover. It is being aided by technology that you're unaware of. But the most important part is you're aware of it now. So even though the technology is there, the reality is nobody can really make anybody do anything. They can suggest a lot. And many times that's really what's happening. But the reality is you're awakening from the dream. And once you fully anchor in the higher vibrations, the more that you anchor in your fifth dimensional world, the less that you can even notice this, because this does not exist on that level. There's no third leg. It's only one or the other. Neither one work. Take a breath. Good. The family is an important aspect of where you're going. You will feel them all the time from home. And we hope that at some point after you leave this physical body and you return home, that you're walking down a lonely street, that you see someone off in the distance. And as they get closer, you may realize it may be us. Allow that to enter your heart. Know that you're never alone. We're walking this street with you. Enjoy the journey, dear ones. With that, we leave you for now. We are complete. Treat each other with respect. Nurture one another. Play well together. I am observer, and I do like to watch. Spabo, dear ones.